Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Daryl with Rampart Gear. Today we're going to be accessorizing a Marlin 336BL and some accessories from XS Sight Systems. Let's get going. Alright, just looking at what we've got here included in this kit with the lever rail is we're going to be replacing this front sight with a stripe. So we'll be removing the one that comes on the Marlin. We're going to be drifting using the tool included with the kit, which is really fantastic. We're going to drift this dovetail mounted rear tang sight out of there, and then we've got an option. They include two different size rear ghost rings, so I'm going to kind of look at these and decide which one I think is going to suit me best there. And then these are just the various screws and things that are going to be required to mount the system to the rifle. And then they include some Sherlock 1242 thread lock. Comes with the kit too, and of course they give you an Allen wrench. First thing we need to do is remove the filler screws that are in the top of the receiver. Be very careful, use the appropriate size slotted screwdriver. These screws are rather soft and we had a little bit of trouble getting those out of there. Be very careful with that. XS provides a little hard plastic drift punch to knock out the rear sight. So this is kind of cool that's provided. This is designed so that it won't mar up your gun when you drift that out of there. It's very easy. Only took a few little taps with this lightweight hammer. That came right out. Moving on up to the front sight, removing the front sight. There's one screw that's exposed, and then there's another screw hidden under the front sight. So you could drift this over with the punch and remove that screw first, then remove this screw. That's probably the easiest way of doing that. And that comes right off. You'll need to take the hood off. The hood slides forward so that you can access these, and then so that comes right off. Okay, basically I've laid all the components here out that we'll be using that came with our kit. I have just opted to leave the larger of the two apertures in the rear sight. So we're just going to set that one aside. Won't be using that. There's a longer Philister head screw that will be the attachment screw that will eventually go here, that corresponds with the second to last hole there on the receiver. So it'll go there. There are two screws that are the center mount screws that go through here and obviously correspond with these two holes. And they've got they're tapered. This is kind of the most important part. This is this is called a jack screw. And then this is the mounting pillar. Now this goes back into where the rear sight came out of. This is obviously dovetailed to fit in there. It's extremely tight. So what you need to do to make this fit, if it's tight, and it should be, is you should take a file and you just get all the material off the bottom of that. Now ours is completely bright, so this was a really snug fit. But basically, this will tap back in here, and you visually center it. You'll use the provided or hard plastic punch to do that, and then this jack screw goes in through the top and connects into that dovetailed pillar mount. So it'll look like this. And then with the front sight, there are two smaller screws that'll be there for the front sight. There is a filler screw if you get the kind that has a third unused hole. There's a filler screw. I've set it aside because that's not the model we have. We've got the model just with the two screw holes. Basically just going to use this drift punch and just pop this mount back in and just make sure it's centered. I went a little too far with it. And just by feeling how much is over each side, you can kind of tell. Take the jack screw there, put it on your Allen wrench, and you just put a tiny bit of the thread lock that they provide. Does not take much. And then we're going to go ahead and put that in place. Here. Tighten that all the way down. So now we're going to look at making sure everything's lined up. Let me mention this real quick. When you line this up on a 336, it's kind of hard to explain. When this is in the right spot here, these holes were slightly forward, so I had to elongate with a small half round file, I had to elongate this hole back into this space so that I could slide that forward so I could line up these screws. It didn't take not even 3 or 4 minutes to do it. Now that when this is in place, these rear screws are all lined up. So we're going to have a nice tight fit once we're done with that. Now that we put the rail on top and we verified that all the holes line up nice, we'll just put a little bit of thread lock on the screws that fit in the middle. We'll put this nut on. This is basically what holds the front of the mount of the rail into that jack screw, which has been threaded into the dovetail mount. Make sure that's snug. Go back and check these. Make sure they're snug. And now we'll move on to the rear. That just sits right there. We'll put just a little bit of thread lock. Tighten that down. Now we're going to mount the front sight, and these just screw right in, and that's it. And then wipe off any excess. But if you're kind of careful with that stuff, there really won't be any. In this configuration, I've decided to go ahead and use a Burris Fastfire 2. It's a relatively inexpensive red dot. It's a really great little piece of glass. It auto gates. It turns up in brightness when it's bright outside, and then in lower light it dims. So it's got some smart technology to it. Really cool. A lot of fun. Very affordable for this sort of thing. People might ask, okay, why have you taken a classic, 1890s technology rifle, and why have you done all this tactical stuff to it? What's the purpose? What's the point? Well, with the recent things going on legislatively in America, where there seems to be an attack on black rifles and that sort of thing, I thought, it would be kind of cool to take a rifle like this, which is a lever action rifle. Doesn't have any of the evil features that politicians seem to have a disdain for. And if I were in a state where I couldn't own a semi-automatic magazine-fed weapon, what can I do for a home defense or a ranch defense weapon? What could we do with something like this? So obviously we started with the XS Systems lever rail. We've put a fast acquisition, red dot sight on it. We've put a this is just, it's from Eagle. This is just a pouch I love to put on most of my rifles like this. It gives you a pouch for storage. You can put, I've got lens wipes in there now. I'll put some other things in there. You could put a boo-boo kit, or you could put some gun oil, a flashlight, spare batteries, whatever sort of thing you want here. So if this were, say, in your truck and you're out in the middle of wherever, and this is all you have with you, you could have some extra supplies in there, which I think is kind of cool. This is the big loop. As I said earlier, this is really designed for wearing gloves. I found that running the lever with this big loop, I was having to take up a lot of space in there, so I basically just paracord wrapped that. It's not the best job in the world, but just basically paracorded that just to give me a little bit of, take up a little bit of that space on that big loop, and it makes it a little bit nicer on your fingers when you're running the lever. Moving up forward, we've got a weapon light. This is a Claris. This is a Voltor mount. I took this off of one of my ARs that's painted green, but basically this just locks on the front, allows me to, with my offhand, run the weapon light in whatever modes I need to. I would ideally like that mount a little bit further forward, but that's all the rail I have, so that seems to work that way. So you basically have all the fundamentals of a fighting rifle in a lever action rifle. That's kind of my concept with it. I can't wait to get this thing zeroed in and shoot it, see how it works, see how it performs out in the field, and have a little field test with it. Hey guys, as I promised, we're going to do a little test shooting with this today. I've got the rail installed, as we talked about earlier. I put the Burris Fastfire 2 on it. I have it pretty much set where I want it. I haven't dialed it in, so we're not shooting today for accuracy or anything like that. I'm just basically going to see how I like the overall setup with the rail and the new Ghost Ring sights and that sort of thing. So I'm not going to do an extensive range report sort of thing right now. We're just going to have a little bit of fun and see how it handles. So I'm just going to shoot a couple from high ready. I've got one in the chamber. I'm going to go ahead and fan my trigger back, and it's on safe. So I'm going to acquire a target, press off my safety, and then fire a shot or two. From compressed ready, I'm just going to acquire the target, come up and prep my trigger. Hammer's going to be back. Come up and I'm going to prep the trigger. As I come up, press off a shot, reload, and press off another shot. Okay, that was kind of a short little range trip. I mean, we only shot up one tube or so of rounds, but just want to get a feel for it. Again, we've spent a lot of time talking about the red dot system and how the rail allows you to attach, optics to the top of the lever gun. What we haven't talked about so much is the addition of the Ghost Ring sights on this, which gives you a great, a much longer sight radius, and then the addition of the front stripe there on this front post is fantastic. I mean, the little bead that comes on these is okay. This thing is just really bright, picks up really quick. I just like the fact that the rail gives you lots and lots and lots of options. I think it's the best addition you can possibly make to a lever action rifle.